The ancient Egyptians loved their animals, but it was tough love. Ancient Egypt is well known for mummified humans, less known for mummified animals. Now, Gifts for the Gods, an exhibition at Manchester Museum, delves into the subject with forensic precision and presents it through a remarkable collection of animal mummies.
It's one of the most exciting exhibitions we've ever done in the museum because it's the first to deal with animal mummies in science ever in the UK. It's based on cutting-edge research done here at the University of Manchester by my colleagues from the Biomedical Egyptology Centre here. And for the first time, it brings together about 100 objects, including over 60 mummies, to look at what the Egyptians were thinking when they made animal mummies and what we can understand about them using modern science today. In ancient Egypt, if you wanted to give your prayers to the gods, you would say a prayer out loud, but to help the prayer along, you would give a gift. So you could give a bronze statue of a god. The gods were quite vain, so they wanted an image of themselves. You could give them a bronze statue, or you could give them a mummified example of their sacred species. And that's what you see in this exhibition, a whole range of gifts for the gods. It is a bronze and wood ibis bird, which was a sacred bird to the god Thoth. Thoth was the god of wisdom and writing. The suggestion is made it's because the beak of the bird is meant to be like a scribe's pen. And when you dip your pen in the inkwell, when you're writing documents, this is something like the ibis bird's beak. We CT scanned this, so we've looked inside it, and there is a hollow in the body of the ibis. The purpose of this object would be to be given as a gift to the gods. Someone would buy it, would dedicate it, would donate it to a temple, and the priests would bury it specially. And you would hope that your prayer, which was given at the same time as you donated this object, would be heard by the gods.
As merchants, conquerors and tourists, the British Victorians were fascinated by animal mummies. But besides romanticism, there was cold-blooded pragmatism too.
Animal mummies were not always valued as scientific specimens. In the 1890s, we've got an incredible story from Liverpool where hundreds of thousands of animal mummies were brought in from Egypt in ships where they were sold on the docks in Liverpool as fertiliser to farmers. And so you went and you bid some money and you took your bag of mummified cats and you spread them on the field. So this is an imagining in Punch magazine of what the cats thought about this. So you see the reanimated zombie cats coming back and frightening the farmer.
Gifts for the Gods grew out of homegrown scientific research. The Ancient Egyptian Animal Biobank project of the University of Manchester has amassed data of more than 800 animal mummies found all over the UK, Europe and the world. One of the leaders of the project, Lydia McKnight, has worked with animal mummies for over 15 years.
We've been using radiography, so X-rays and CT scans, to look inside mummies for quite a long time now, but mainly that's been the human mummies. The work on animals has been quite recent, mainly over the last 20 years. But as the techniques are improving, we're able to get a much better insight into what's inside these mummies. And often that isn't what we're expecting to see. It can be quite random things that are quite surprising when we scan them. The mummy you can see in the case here is from the collection at the Garstang Museum. It's actually on loan to them from the Chester Museum. And it was collected in Egypt by a gentleman called Sir Richard Massey Blomfield, who was a general in the British Army. And he was over there in Egypt doing military work, and he collected this artefact and brought it home with him. Now, he probably thought it was a child mummy because it's in a human-shaped coffin and it looks very much the size of a child. When it was scanned in the 1970s, they discovered it actually contained a cat. And when we came to do our new CT scans in the 2005-2006 period, we discovered he actually had parts of two cats inside there, and he's been quite carefully manipulated so the mummy fills the coffin that you can see him in here today. We use the CT scan data to 3D print the cat's skull, so you can see this in the case behind me, and this is to give the visitors a real insight into what they're looking at inside the mummy itself.
Gift for the Gods will be on until April 2016. We don't know if the gods are still impressed, but this free exhibition is certainly a gift for the curious.